Howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. We are back for episode 235. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And let's do this.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator. I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor, sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy do, Who fans. I hope you've all had a cracking 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related.
Related, yes.
Howdy do, and welcome back to all of you. It's been a few weeks grace period for us. We've not been behind the mic doing anything at all. But now we are back. It's been completely my fault. I've moved the Big Blue Box of studio to another location. I've moved house. I'm up the road, but now I'm all settled. I'm all good. So yes, it's great to be recording again and chatting with Adam. I've missed you, bud. I've missed you lots.
Yeah, I know, and you, mate. Yeah, for the listeners' benefit, Gary, I can see why Gary was so keen to move. He's now in his own little bat cave, aren't you? You've got your own little room, all your little bits and bobs on the shelf, his own little office. I can see why you couldn't wait to get in there. Yeah, it looks very cool.
Yeah, cheers, man. It's so I work from my day job. I need to work from home, so I wanted somewhere I could have my own office, my own little studio and whatnot. So yes, I'm in here. Everything's set up. I've painted the walls. I've got all new furniture and bookcases, and it's all good. I feel at home. Let's put it that way.
Although Doctor Who fans may be slightly disappointed to hear that all the merch I can see behind you is Star Wars, you traitor. Where's all the Doctor Who merch?
Yeah, so...
he's going to tell me it's to the other side that I can't see.
Of course, yeah. It is. It's completely the other side. You can't see it on the camera. But trust me, I've got all of the Doctor Who merch, all of my books, and all the merch is out, mate. I'll send you a pic later.
Cool. Just as proof. What is weird as well is you've got a window to your left, exactly the same as you had in the room that you recorded in previously. Because when you first popped up on Skype, I was like, "Oh, has he not moved yet?" It almost looked for a second like you're in the same room. Did you insist on that? You're like, I must have a window on the left.
Yeah, you have no idea how much planning time went into where do I put the desk. Does it go on this wall, that wall? So I settled on this one just to maximise the space and whatnot. But yeah, I see what you mean. The window's in pretty much the identical place as it was in the old room. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Indeed, yes. I love it. So yeah, it's as I said, it's great to be back and recording and putting some Doctor Who stuff in you guys' ears for a while. I've missed the intro. I don't know about you. Listening to that intro again, I was like, missed all this. Indeed, yeah. So for 235 coming up, we have got a bunch of news and merch to get through because we've had We haven't done any for a few weeks, and it was a bit light before we stopped recording. So episode 2, 3, 4, there's only a couple of bits, but we have got a full house. And then we're on to our review of the Sarah Jane Adventures, Prisoner of the Judoon.
Judoon. Yeah. Now we'll be seeing more of them again, won't we? We'll be seeing more of them in Series 12, apparently.
Oh, for Series 12, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so
yes.
We didn't know that when we picked... Well, we didn't pick it, did we? Because we're doing them in order. But yeah, it's kind of timely that we're doing this one, I think.
Indeed, yes. But how have you been, my good man? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been really good, actually. Yeah, I've been keeping myself quite busy over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it's not entirely your fault we can record. I mean, obviously you were moving, which is a mammoth thing. And as a lot of listeners know, I started a new job as well, which has just made, getting together more difficult. So, yeah, life things have been getting in the way of recording, but hopefully we're back on track now. So, I've been good. I have managed to cram in some fantastic Doctor Who related things over the last couple of weeks. First off, I managed to get a ticket to the BFI Planet of the Daleks screening, which was fantastic. It was another brilliant event. I mean, me and you have been to a couple. I know you couldn't make this one because of obviously moving and stuff, but it was, the same format. They showed all 6 episodes, which I was worried it was going to be a bit of a slog, I must admit, not because of the story or anything, but sometimes watching 6 episodes back to back, you might need a little break. And with these, they just show them, all together. And plus there was a Q&A, plus we got to see a couple of new extras. So we were in there for quite a long time. But I have to say it all worked. It was brilliant, actually. Great Q&A with Katie Manning. I think she's the best person I've seen on stage at on the BFI events.
Oh, yeah?
Because she's just so... She can't sit still. She was just, when she was telling stories, she was up and she was animated and she was acting them out. And, at the start where they do the little competition where they give out a few prizes before it all kicks off, she jumped up and was like, oh, can I, they normally have someone running around with a microphone and stuff. She's like, oh, can I do that? And they were like, yeah, if you want to. So she was running around with the mic, talking to people, and she was just amazing, mate. And after it finished... sometimes they come out and sign, and last time Annika Wills was put in a little room and charged a tenner. Katie just was out there straight away. There was a massive queue of people. She was just out there. There was no charging for autographs. She was having pictures left, right and centre, chatting, hugging. She was honestly absolutely incredible. She really made the day amazing. But, going back to the Planet of the Daleks itself, we haven't reviewed it, so I won't say too much. But I will talk about the new effects a little bit, because I think that was the reason it was picked. So, they very often, if they're going to show a story from a forthcoming Blu-ray box set, they normally pick the one they've tweaked. And I've got to be honest, this time I wasn't overly enthralled with the new effects. I mean, when we went to Legopolis, I thought they worked really well, and I think for the majority you quite liked them, didn't you? You liked the model shots. And,
yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, so I was expecting more of that. With this one, they're much more CGI, so they, like the spaceship shot's been replaced, and it just looked very cartoony. So I don't know. I need to see it again, but I wasn't too sure about the new effects, to be honest with you. Thankfully, there's only a couple of bits they've altered, so most of it's the same. So that was great. Another great day at the BFI. I can't wait for the next one. Probably talk about that a bit more when we get onto the news, because I haven't looked actually. I assume it's in our merch section, is it?
It is. I think I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll come to that later. And so the only other thing I've done is last Sunday I went to an incredible event in Oldbourne. It was called An Afternoon in Devil's End.
Oh, I saw this. Yeah. Now,
this was great because I didn't think I could go because of work. I thought, it's a Sunday, I'll be working, because I work in retail, so, I thought I won't be able to get off. Anyway, by an absolute unbelievable chance, my boss was like, I don't suppose you could swap your days this week, but you do get the Sunday off. I was like, oh, go on then.
You twisted me arm. Go on.
You twisted me arm. Yeah, I'll go on. I'll have Sunday off then, and I'll work Thursday. That's fine. So I did that, and but then I was like, oh no, they haven't got any tickets. So I emailed the organizer, said, just if you get any returns, I've managed to get the stuff. Can you let me know? Anyway, they did. They got 2 tickets returned, and so I managed to get a ticket to it. And it was unbelievable, mate. It was just. What they did is they had Katie Manning, John Levine, Richard Franklin, and Darren I can never say her name right. Let me get it right. I was doing that all day as well. Damaris, isn't it? Heyman, who played Miss Hawthorne. Yeah, so they had those 4 actors, and they were at different sort of location spots in Oldbourne where they filmed the Damons, and just giving a little talk about each bit. And you just walk around the locations, and then they did a photo shoot on the green with all the actors in Bessie, and it was incredible. The weather was just like, it was just teetering on rain all day. And so they said, if it rains, we won't be able to do the photo shoot on the green. We'll have to do it inside and do it as green screen. And we were all like, oh no, because you want it. You're there. You want it on the. So anyway, it was sort of spitting all day, and we kept thinking, oh, come on, just let's get the photos done. Come on. Anyway, they did them last thing, and wow, the timing was literally like they just managed to get it done, and then it started to rain literally as they did finish the last shoot. It was unbelievable. So that was really good. It was amazing just to hear. I mean, Katie Manning again, just incredible. Richard Franklin is such a lovely chap as well. He just really, really nice listening to him chat. Damaris, I will say that right, is obviously, quite. I think she's 90 now. She had such lovely memories. I got quite emotional when she talked because she was just so proud of being in Doctor Who. It was incredibly emotional, but she was amazing. The only downside, I mean, John Levine, I think upset a few people.
Oh, you do.
John Levine he's just a bit of a force tour de force. I mean, I don't know really what to say about John Levine. Whereas all the actors stood at their spot and talked about the stories, John Levine launched into a sort of biography filled with F's and expletives, and there were kids there as well, and it was all just a bit. He was talking about. He didn't talk about the story at all. He was sort of talking about really random stuff that isn't even appropriate for me to talk about on the podcast. To be honest, it was a bit strange. And I know a few people were a bit put off by him. But John Levine is John Levine. I think because I've met him a few times over the years, I wasn't particularly surprised by some of the stuff he was saying. But I think I wouldn't say upset a few people, but I saw a few people walking off, away from his talk, which was a shame because the other talks were brilliant. Like Katie was fantastic talking about John Pertwee, and so was Richard. And as I said, Damaris was lovely. So, an amazing event down in Oldbourne last Sunday. And thankfully, the weather held off till we got back in the hall and got a few autographs signed and stuff. So, so I've had a really good couple of weeks, really. It's been great. So, I'm feeling absolutely shattered, but I'm glad to be off today and back in front of the mic and, just getting back to some sort of routine, really. Yeah. What about you, mate? What have you been up to?
Oh, no surprises to anyone. I've not done anything.
Moving.
Doctor Who just,
lifting boxes.
I've spent the last 10 days, I think, just knee deep in boxes and unboxing and building furniture and painting and more moving stuff. And so I literally haven't had the chance to do any kind of chill and even watch any Doctor Who, really. I've just been doing boring life stuff, mate.
Yeah, that's the thing when you move. They say it's one of the most stressful things in life, isn't it, to move house? Yeah. Boxing everything up and Yeah,
so that's been me, buddy. The only one little tiny thing that I noticed, and it's not Doctor Who related, really, is did you see the announcement for Mackenzie Crook's reimagination of Wurzel Gummidge? Yeah,
I did. Yeah. A very strange first publicity picture, I thought.
Quite a different
He looks
look.
like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Yes, so I thought I'd mention that because, Pertwee.
We're both fans.
Pertwee. Yeah, so we're huge fans, aren't we, of old Wurzel, so...
I love the original series. Actually, I don't know if you know this, you probably do. And it seems an unbelievable coincidence as well, considering they're just about to launch a new TV show. But I don't know if you've got the original DVDs, have you?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Because the stories are brilliant. We love them. We both love them. But I think you'll agree with me, the quality of the picture is sometimes quite shocking. Like,
especially
the first episode. Yeah, the first one looks almost black and white because the colours are so drained. Well, anyway, in an unbelievable coincidence, somebody, probably Philip Morris, but I don't think it was, somebody has found the original negatives because apparently they didn't have them. So that's why the quality is so bad of the DVDs, because they had to use whatever source material they'd got. Somebody has found the original negatives.
No way.
So they are hoping that with the renewed interest in the show, they're going to clean them all up and probably release a Blu-ray set, and they're going to look amazing. And I thought, as Wurzel Gummidge fans, that's just the best news, because yeah, you'll put up with them on DVD because you love them so much, but the quality is not that great. So wow, can you imagine that pristine Gummidge on Blu-ray?
That'd be amazing.
It does, doesn't it? I couldn't believe it. I was like, so what, they've literally just found them now. They opened a tin and there's a new series coming out. Oh look, it's the new negative. But anyway, I don't really care because it's brilliant news. So I hope that happens, because it's nothing definite. It's definite that they found them, but they just assume that they'll, use them. So I hope that's going to happen. But what did you think of the new look, mate? Sorry to go off on a Wurzel Gummidge thing. What did you think of it? Because it is strange.
Yeah, I think it is strange. I think I think it's one of those things in some franchises, you have a certain look and that just becomes the look for something over generations. And then when you see something different, it's very, very difficult to detach what you know and love to this new thing. So I think it does look a bit weird. It doesn't... I wasn't impressed, put it that way. I didn't look at it and think, oh wow, this is going to be, the look of Wurzel, the new one's going to be amazing. But I don't know. I think it'd be down to his performance more than anything else.
Yeah, and I'm hoping. I mean, I think when it hits the screen, I'm hoping it'll be good. But I'm like you. I looked at it and thought, what the heck? I'll be honest with you. It wasn't even so much the design, but one of the things I love about John Pertwee as Wurzel Gummidge is all that stuff was stuck to his face. So his face, because he was a great face puller anyway, wasn't he, Pertwee? He could sort of, he's a very animated person. So all that stuff, it looked real. He looked like his face was all dirty and had all those bits of straw sticking out of it. It was incredible makeup.
Yeah.
The Mackenzie Crook one, I mean, as I said, take away the actual design of it, it just looked like a rubbery mask.
It did actually, yeah. It did look very recent.
And it might look better on screen, but yeah.
We'll see, though. Yeah. Apparently Mackenzie Crook's a big lover of this show, and that's why he wanted to do it. I think he's the writer and producer as well, I think
so, yeah.
So... Anyways, we'll save this for the Wurzel Gummidge podcast. But
yeah, no. Can you fit it in though? I mean, we've got Blake 7 podcast, Doctor Who, Star Wars, and Wurzel Gummidge. Yeah,
busy times.
And I think we should do an Incredible Hulk one as well. I've just started rewatching that.
Yeah, why not?
Can we fit that one in as well?
Throw it all in.
Yeah.
Enough waffle. Shall we land this dude? Do some news.
Yeah.
First up, again, we have to start with sad news.
Sad news, I know.
Seems to be a bloody trend at the moment. But this one's particularly sad for you and other Blake 7 fans, I'm aware of that. But Paul Darrow sadly left us a few weeks back. He passed away at the age of 78. Fans of Paul will know that he was known for playing Kerr in Blake 7. And he also appeared in a couple of Doctor Who episodes, though. He was in the Silurians and Time Lash in the 80s. Time Lash, yeah. So I know this one leaves you with a bit of a pull on the old heartstrings, mate.
Oh, it does. It really does. Because, obviously, like Blake 7 is my absolute love. I love Blake 7. And we've lost nearly all of the sort of main, well, not all of them, but we've lost some big characters from the show over the last couple of years. And I think Paul Darrow, I mean, Avon's character is probably, although Blake was the main character, Avon really comes through as the strongest character. And I will just say, I just want to quickly say, I have, having met him a couple of times over the years, I can genuinely say he was a really top bloke, Paul Darrow. He had a really cheeky, fun sense of humour. He was always a good laugh to me, always really fun in the panels. He had this voice as well, didn't he? Sort of quite a sort of devilishly voice. He was very, it was just a really cool guy. And the reason I wanted to say that is because Avon's a very serious sort of character a lot of times. He's very moody and all this. So if ever you got a picture with Paul, you'd be having a great laugh with him and chatting, and I've noticed this with everybody. I've talked to this about Blake 7 fans over this. Whenever you got a picture with Paul, he went into Avon mode. You always look very serious and sometimes quite moody. And people would say, oh, he looks happy. And you'd be like, oh, no, he's lovely. He was just one of those people. A bit like Capaldi. You know how a lot of people get a picture of Capaldi and he always looks really serious. and he's not smiling.
Oh yeah.
Paul was like that. He was just a really top bloke, but he always looked so serious. Because when people were posting their pictures with him after he passed away, I was thinking, oh, he always looks so. I bet anyone who doesn't know him thinks, oh, he looks a misery, but he wasn't. He was a really nice guy, and as I said, his humour was it was just very cheeky. He's a very cheeky chappy and a really fun person to meet. So terribly sad that he's passed away, and I know he had a lot of I know he battled. Well, I assume it was cancer. Because I know he lost his legs a couple of years ago, had his legs amputated, and he's been through it. I think it's fair to say, but yeah, finally he's passed away. So 78 he was.
Indeed, yeah, sad times, yeah. But yeah, Paul Darrow leaves us. Yeah,
indeed. Right, in other news, so some good news. We've got another Doctor Who animation on the way, and this time it's the Faceless Ones, the Patrick Troughton. It's coming to DVD, Blu-ray, and exclusive Steelbook. Really pleased to see they're carrying on the Steelbook range, because I know you like them as well. I love the Steelbooks. I just picked up Series 4 one, actually, which is gorgeous. After the success of Power of the Daleks and Shada and the Macatera, Faceless Ones will be released next year. We don't have a definitive date yet, do we?
Not yet.
For this one, just next year.
Yep.
So only 2 of the 6 episodes are in the film archives, so they'll be animating the other 4. Well, actually, somebody said they're going to animate the whole thing.
That's true.
And then they're just going to put the 2. Yeah, is that what's happening? Yeah. So you'll be able to watch it as all animated, or I believe they'll probably put the other 2 on there. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do, but yeah. Anyway, that's good news. It's I mean, I don't know this story particularly, mate. So I don't know about you. For me, it's going to be quite exciting because it'll be like a new episode to me. I think I've watched the other 2 years ago. I think the surviving episodes are on like a DVD. What was it called? The Missing Episodes or something. I've probably seen them, but I can't remember them. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. The chameleons are the aliens in question in this one. Yeah, identity stealing aliens.
Sounds right. Okay, cool. That sounds cool.
Yeah, and these animations, I feel like we need to keep these rolling as well, because as long as the BBC keep getting the budget and the whatever animation agency does them, as long as they keep doing them, we're going to keep getting them. It's when people start thinking, oh, I can't be bothered. So let's keep the hype train for these going, because this means that we're going to get animation at least into 2020. So we need to hopefully keep these going, because there's another 2 or 3 stories, isn't there, where a bunch of most of the episodes are missing, but the audio tracks have survived in some shape or form. So let's keep these rocking and rolling, because until somebody pipes up and says, oh, actually, I've got all these in the shed.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Oh, look, they're just under the Wurzel gummidge.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I'm looking forward to this one, I think. And it's got a real, the trailer that they've put out for it as well, it's got a really cool sort of old Hammer horror vibe to it as well, and the font they've used. It looks very cool. Yeah.
It does. No, it's really good news. It's good news for us because it fills in, because like when we look at our schedule of what stories we're going to do, and then we get to Troughton and Summer Hartnell, and we've got all these big gaps, and we think, oh no, how are we going to review those? Well, this is cool because it's filling in the gaps, and it means we will be able to review them. and also, I think the BBC possibly, because of the success of the Blu-ray box sets, I think they're trying to fill in, don't you? I think they're sort of working their way, because eventually I assume they're going to release them all.
I think so.
All seasons on Blu. So I think they're trying to fill in the gaps, which is great.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Good times. So in other news, our US fans are in for a treat if you're a fan of the 10th Doctor. The End of Time is coming up to its 10th anniversary, believe it or not.
Gosh, really?
Yeah.
Blimey.
I know, right?
10 years. Oh, my, that does make me feel old, yeah.
Yeah, 10 years. Mm-hmm. And over in the US, we've seen a few of these. You and I have covered these over the last couple of years. The company Fathom Events, they team up with a bunch of cinema chains out in the US and put on these Doctor Who showings. And The End of Time will be going out on the 7th of August across a bunch of cinemas in the US. Obviously, the 10th year anniversary itself won't be until Christmas, because that's when it went out, wasn't it, initially?
Yeah.
Fans will be able to take a look at the old the website for Fathom Events. I think it's just It's quite a long URL. If you just go to fathomevents.com /events maybe, you should see it on there. Big Doctor Who, David Tennant poster. But a little bit of blurb from the company. It's hard to believe that it's been nearly 10 years since David Tennant left Doctor Who in his heartbreaking finale, The End of Time. To commemorate the occasion, BBC Studios and Fathom Events invite you to relive the agony and ecstasy of this absolutely thrilling story on the big screen. You'll see the full 2-part adventure, including appearances by fan favourites Billy Piper, Catherine Tate, John Sim, Liz Sladen, John Barrowman, and many more. So there we go. If you're out in the America and you fancy this, go and have a look at the website. You can see all of the cinemas where it's showing it. You have to put your zip code in and it will tell you your closest cinema. But yeah, I'd love to see this on the big screen. I know we're big fans of the classic stuff over at the BFI, but seeing this as well would be amazing. So yeah, go and check it.
I must admit, I would as well, actually. I think it'd be really cool to see it on the big screen. Yeah. I like the poster as well. It looks like, is he in front of a big moon or something on there? Anyway, it looks very cool.
That's it for news. There is no more news. That's it. There's no more news. Let's crack on with a little bit of tasty merch, shall we?
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Well, there you are, young man. What do you think of that now, eh? A Viking helmet.
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
I work in a shop now, here to help.
Character options. Those dudes that produce the figures.
Yeah.
Those dudes. Apparently.
Still plugging away.
Apparently, they're going to be throwing out a bunch of stuff into B&M stores this year over the summer.
They love B&M.
We love a bit. Who doesn't like driving around various towns, visiting B&M stores, asking the staff who know nothing about the shop, it seems, that they work in, whether or not they have the latest Doctor Who figure. Who doesn't enjoy doing that? Come on.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, who is it? Doctor what? No, Doctor Who. Who? The Doctor. Yeah, but who? No, Doctor Who. You have that conversation for 5 minutes.
Oh, tell me. I'm dreading it.
Yeah, and all it ends up with them saying, well, go and look down the aisle where the toys are. You know, some of the staff members have got this attitude like, well, you're not blind and your legs aren't broken. So why can't you go and look down the aisle where the toys are? So, okay, cool. We're going to have a look.
I'll tell you, the worse than that is if you phone them. Don't ever phone B&M.
It's awesome. Well,
have you got those new Doctor Who sets? Oh, is it the 9th Doctor figure set? No, not the one released 10 years ago. I'm on about the new. Anyway.
They just don't get... There needs to be some kind of briefing that's emailed down from head office to say, in the next week, you guys are going to be stocking some Doctor Who figures. Now, Doctor Who fans are quite particular and they're knowledgeable and they know exactly what they want. So you need to be clued up. So when they phone, and they will phone, you know exactly what to say. You either stock them or you don't, and the other branch that will do it is over here.
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
That would be nice. I mean, that sounds... You explained it like that. It sounds quite simple. Why can't that be a thing?
Yeah.
Anyway, what are they getting?
Anyways.
Loads by the looks of it.
Yeah, quite a few bits. So a bunch of sonic screwdrivers, because no one's seen enough of them. So
they've opened that blimmin' factory and said, "Why? What haven't we got rid of yet? Oh, look at all these Sonics."
Oh, do you know what? That's probably there's a lockup somewhere.
Put them in a new box.
Yeah, they've got an email from Big Yellow Storage saying, "Yeah, you took out half a warehouse 5 years ago, and your contract's up. Just wondering if you want to extend it or get rid of it." Yeah, we'll have them. Because we got a contract coming up with B&M. Anyway, the new Blister Pack series will include electronic versions inspired by the 50th anniversary episode of the 10th, 11th and War Doctor's Sonics. This sounds completely awful.
Inspired by? That means, well, we haven't quite got them right.
Exactly.
So what was they inspired by? And
it's the Blister Pack as well. So it's not a box or anything. It's just the plastic moulded with a card on the back, it sounds like. Inspired by. So they're not going to be accurate for a start. So they sound awful. For action figure fans, there are 3 unique Doctor and Dalek twin packs inspired by the Doctor Who audio series from Big Finish.
Does it actually say that again? It does.
Yeah. And that includes a brand new take on the 8th Doctor, plus the Dalek Interrogator Prime, as featured in the story Garden of Death, and then 2 additional Doctor and Dalek sets to be released from this range, which will feature the 7th and War Doctors respectively. They don't sound too bad.
No, they sound all right.
And then this year there will be not 1 but 2 new TARDIS and Doctor sets, which will have a completely new take on both the Doctor and the Blue Box, inspired by the adventures spanning the 70s and 80s. Now that sounds cool.
They sound good.
And then to complete the summer lineup, there are 3 brand new collector sets with a range of 3 figures in each, inspired by the classic adventures of the 2nd, 4th, 6th and 7th Doctors. So I'm not sure whether to be worried or not where it says inspired by, because is that their get out clause, as if to say, well, if fans complain and say this looks nothing like said, person that this is meant to be, they can say, well, it's inspired by, it's not modelled on.
Yeah, it does worry me that they've put that in literally every single description. Yeah. I'm amazed how much stuff is. I mean, sort of joking aside, I'm glad that they're still putting out classics toys. I think that's great. So, I know I'm laughing at some of it, but I am glad they're still producing classic sets. For me personally, the TARDIS sets sound pretty cool. I'll hopefully be able to track them down without too much trouble. But yeah, I don't know. They have been a bit of a nightmare previously, so maybe they'll produce a few more this time around. Yeah, do you think you'll be picking up a TARDIS set? You're not really into the figures, are you? They're not really your bag.
Not really, but I might pick up these classic ones. From inspired, the 70s and 80s, inspired by ones. I might pick those up. Yeah, but we'll see. I'm definitely not into those Sonics. Got enough of those already.
No, I've got enough Sonics. I'm like, I don't need any more Sonics. Yeah. No.
And I might have a little look at the Doctor and Dalek twin packs. I think the 8th Doctor and the 7th Doctor ones sound pretty cool.
This is bad for people that collect everything, like I used to, and probably still do. This is bad for the wallet, because I know that Big Finish are going to get some variants, exclusive variants of the Big Finish series. So you're going to get the Big Finish series and some Big Finish exclusive versions of the Big Finish. It's like, what? So a lot of variants, a lot of repackaging, a lot of repaints, but there's some good stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
Mainly the TARDIS. It looked great in your new room, mate. If next time we record, you could have it all set up behind you. You could just fill that lovely clean room that you've got behind you now. Just fill it with figures.
With B&M inspired by figures.
You'd be like a B&M shop in your own little office. Oh dear. Anyway, moving on to something that I think this is a definite pickup for both of us, I would think. The next Blu-ray collection has been announced. I thought it was going to be McCoy. I'd heard all these rumours it was McCoy, but no, it's Colin. Colin, season 23 is coming to Blu-ray.
McCoy?
Yeah, I'd heard it was McCoy. He's got to be next. I'm sure he's next.
Yeah.
We know nothing. So season 23, which is the Trial of a Time Lord series, is coming to Blu-ray in September 23rd. It's down for. So this is nice. Once again, fantastic cover by Mr. Lee Binding. Looks great. Fits in with the other releases. Beautiful artwork inside, from what we can see from the promo picture. Loads of new extras, as you'd expect. I'll tell you what does interest me as well is that I'm just looking on the list now because I'm hoping I didn't dream this. I'm sure I read that they're going to be a version of the episodes where they don't have all the courtroom scenes, so that like as an alternative version, which will be cool, because then you'll actually get, because sometimes those courtroom scenes did take you out of the story just as you were getting into it. Not sure if that's for all the episodes or just one. Anyway, yeah, there's lots of new features on it. So, yeah, extended edits as well of all 14 episodes. What else have we got? Behind the Sofas with Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Bonnie Langford, Mark Strickson, Fraser Hines, and Matthew Wardhouse. They're going to be fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, they're on the Behind the Sofa. Yeah, they look really good.
Brilliant. Yeah, the Writer's Room, that was a really nice feature on the Season 18 box set. So doing another one of those with Eric Saywood, Philip Martin, Christopher Bidmead, and Wally K. Daly. So that's another cool sounding extra feature. It's the Doctor Who Cookbook Revisited. Wow. Brave cast members tackle their original recipes from the 1980s official cookbook. This is sounding amazing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, And that's not even the half of it. I mean, there's so many more. I won't list all the extras, but there's a ton of them, and you can find them all online if you want to see them all. But this is going to be brilliant. Can't wait. I mean, I'm not even like Colin. I'm sorry to say, I love Colin on Big Finish, but not a fan of his era particularly. But I can't wait to get this. Because I don't mind Trial of a Time Lord. There are good and bad bits in it, but I just can't wait to pick up this set just for the extras alone. I think it sounds brilliant.
Yeah, I pre-ordered this already, mate.
Have you pre-ordered it?
Yeah.
From our mates at good old Zoom, I
Zoom.co.uk.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Zoom. Yeah. A fantastic trailer was released for this as well, which I'm sure you've watched. Of Colin. It's just brilliant in like a courtroom, and then he gets banged up in a cell at the end with Nicola Bryant, and it's brilliant. Such a lovely little extra surprise. Yeah. I love the fact they're going to town on these Blu-ray sets. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's so good. And I'll be honest with you, I was really hoping for a McCoy set next after Pertwee. But having said that, this does look like a really good set, actually. It does.
It does.
And the in the trailer, Colin says that there's over 10 hours of additional special features, which is crazy. That's nuts. And obviously it's a really funny trailer, actually, because in the courtroom, it sounds like it's going to be an epic Doctor Who themed showdown, but it turns out he's in there for a unpaid parking ticket, and they're not having any of it, and he's trying to make out he is the Doctor and return me to my normal space and time, and then he gets banged up, and it's great. Brilliant. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. So you need to order this just to keep that shelf looking good anyway. You can't have a gap. No, and because the artwork's so consistent, and we both love Lee's artwork for these sets. They look so nice together. Like I can't wait to put Pertwee and Baker alongside the ones we've already got. It's just a lovely collection so far. These Blu-ray sets. Yeah. And there's still a lot of chat around the first one. Season 12, the first one that they put out. One of our buddies, Phil Cannon, over at the Who's He podcast, and also the recent comeback of the Doctor Who podcast, Phil Cannon, he shared something on Twitter, I think it was the day before yesterday, that there's now a petition in place to get the BBC to re-release it because so many people want it, but they don't want to pay £500 on eBay. So if you miss one, I know they're a bit pricey. I think they work out at about 38 quid at the end when they get to release, isn't it? Around 38 quid-ish? Yeah. Something like that. But they are beautiful sets. We've said this about all of them so far. They are lovely sets. And you need, for your collector's syndrome and all that stuff, you need to get it anyway. But it does look like a good Trial of the Time Lord. Like you said, it's okay. Moving on. There's a new book due to hit our shelves later on in the year, which is going to coincide apparently with the upcoming series next year.
Oh, right.
And this is called Doctor Who Star Tales.
Star Tales?
Yes, from BBC Books. And it's essentially, from what I can gather, all of the times throughout all of the episodes where the Doctor name drops somebody famous that they've either met or known or helped create their career, whatever. This is about the Doctor going and seeing those people and hanging out with them.
Okay.
Essentially. So a little bit of blurb from the Beeb. Says, to celebrate the return of Doctor Who in early 2020. That's the first time we've heard even an approximate date for next year, in early 2020. BBC Books will publish a unique collection of name-dropping historical adventures inspired by Jodie Whittaker's first series as the Doctor. And it says, in this collection of new stories, Star Tales takes you on a rip-roaring ride through history from 500 BC to the swinging 60s, going deeper into the Doctor's notorious name-dropping and revealing the truth behind these anecdotes. The book will feature 6 brand new stories detailing the Doctor's untold adventures from famous figures in history, featuring Audrey Hepburn, Elvis Presley, Houdini, Amelia Earhart, and then it goes on, there's Einstein and Pythagoras and loads of people. So, a few adventures, mate. Or with famous figures. I mean, it is a subject that has popped up in pretty much every era of Doctor Who, really, where the Doctor name drops a little bit and says that he's met somebody famous or whatever. So it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like I like the idea behind it. It does sound good. Like the Doctor does like to name drop. We've noticed that over the years. And I do like the cover as well. I think it's a really nice cover on this book. Does it? Do you reckon that's another Lee binding? It looks a little bit like his style, but whoever's done it, I like it.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, not sure. It looks like, or Will Brooks. Looks like a Will Brooksy kind of. Yeah, but who knows? Anyway, but yeah, when's this out? It's out. It's not till December, 5th of December, and you can pre-order it from Amazon at the moment. And then they're saying that in November they'll release two chapters for download as e-shorts.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Finally, on the merchandise side of things, and this is a nice little unexpected turn up. So more Big Finish vinyl on the way. This time it's exclusive to Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's.
So no. What did you call it last time? The Asda one? Was it Bogey Green?
Oh, yeah, I got some flack over
that. So no bogey green on this one. No, so the next release is going to be Wave of Destruction, which is a 4th Doctor and Romana story, and this is coming out on beautiful. What are they calling it? Is it blue? Wave blue, I think they called it. Swirl, yeah. Ocean Swirl. There we go. Yeah, limited run of 1,500 copies on Ocean Swirl vinyl, available from Sainsbury's stores. And this is coming out on July, where is it? 19th. Friday, the 19th of July. So only a couple of weeks away, actually. Yeah. And that vinyl does look nice.
It does, yes. And it looks like a cool story as well. Or sounds like a cool story, should I say.
Yeah.
Wave of
it does. I'll definitely be trying to pick this up. I know last time my local Sainsbury's didn't get them. It's a bit annoying. But yeah, that looks good. These normally are around about the £20 mark. I mean, there's no price on this yet, but I think they're either 15 or 20 normally, these ones. So yeah, another nice vinyl to pick up.
Yeah, I think so. And I believe as well, you can buy the... It's a story from a few years ago, so January 2016. Yeah. It was part of the 5th range, Tom Baker's range, which you can still buy right now from Big Finish. You can buy it as a download or a CD. But yeah, the vinyl itself does look very, very nice.
It does, yeah, that's cool. And I think that was literally announced today as we were recording, so that's a nice little surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okie dokie, that's going to wrap up the merch as well. We should get on to our review story, which is something that we've been wanting to do for weeks now. So, dude, what is it this week?
So we are finally breaking into Series 3 of the Sarah Jane Adventures, and this one's called Prisoner of the Judoon.
The nanoforms, they're multiplying.
They're responding to my programming.
The safety protocols can't cope with that rate of multiplication. They'll swarm.
I'm releasing them to build my ship.
They get into the environment, they take the whole planet apart.
Do your work. Destroy.
Evil Sarah Jane.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like her, Listening to it on audio, it doesn't sound like her at all, does it?
No. It doesn't at all.
Do your worst. Yeah.
Yeah, so Prisoner of the Judoon. It was first released, or broadcast, should I say, back in 2009 in October as a two-parter, as all the Sarah Janes are, the 15th and then the 16th, day after each other. And they were 25 minutes long. It was written by Phil Ford, directed by Joss Agnew, and stars the usual Attic crew. And we do see the return of the Judoon from Doctor Who. I think it was the first time they'd appeared in any kind of spin-off or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And a bit of synopsis on this one. So the Attic crew face the most dangerous day of their lives as the Judoon return when Androvax the Annihilator crash lands on Earth. The Veil is set free to turn Earth's technology against itself. His next intended victim is Sarah Jane. As the Judoon fleet approaches Earth, it's a race against time to stop Androvax. With genetic systems technology on the rampage and Rani's parents taken prisoner, can anything stop the army of the Infestisimal? The Infinitesimal. I'm sure I'm saying that completely wrong. But there we go.
Let's go with it.
Let's go with that. Yes. Right. What do you reckon to this one in, bud?
I thought it was a fun story, a good way to kick off Series 3. A little bit lightweight. I wouldn't put it up there as one of my favourite that we've had so far. But yeah, it was a nice start to the third series and a really enjoyable watch as well. So I did enjoy it. Yeah, I thought it was good. It's just the storyline's quite simple in this one. It's a bit of a sort of a run around. But there's lots of nice fun moments in it with the Judoon. I think they work really well, actually. Although we only get the one, don't we? Yeah, or do we see more at the end?
See more at the end.
Yeah, some more at the end pop up, don't they? But yeah, I think they work well with Sarah Jane. They're a good creation to put into that series. So yeah, overall, another thumbs up from me with this one. I thought it was good.
Cool. Yeah, I thought they are a good fit for Sarah Jane, actually. The Judoon. Yeah. They seem to have a cool there's no adult themes around the Judoon that we've seen so far. They're quite light and fluffy, a bit like the Judoon and the Slitheen. They're two very good fits, aren't they, for Sarah Jane? And they kind of befriend Tybo, don't they? He's the guy that is after Androvax. Yeah, Tybo. And although he's not having any of it, he doesn't want to be friends. In fact, he wants to he wants to arrest them at one point. There is a bit of a team. They do team up a little bit throughout the story. So it's a good sort of buddy-esque kind of thing going on. And I think it's a fairly good story in a way that it moves. Well, there are two things about it that I particularly liked. In that is, it took Sarah Jane Smith out of the usual mix of the formula that they use for these for Sarah Jane. They completely remove her from the good guy camp, and she puts in this amazing performance as this possessed evil
really
version
creepy.
of Sarah Jane. Yeah, and we also have a little bit of because so far everyone who is around the attic team, they've all been. They're all not ignorant, but they have no idea what's going on in their world. Everything, life is normal. So this is the first time that we see somebody else in their family or friends who are getting involved in this stuff. So Rani's parents, they see the Judoon in all their glory. So they're now aware that aliens exist, and they've crapped their pants over it. And yeah,
that's quite funny, that ending, isn't it? When she's telling Sarah, "Oh, you better go and get your pen and all this. You're going to love this." And Sarah's just like, "Oh dear, whatever."
Here we go. Yeah, and she keeps getting the name wrong, isn't it? It's like,
yeah, I still like that joke. It's funny. You think it might have sort of worn thin by now, but it still makes you laugh. I think it's just because of her reaction to it. She's like, "Sarah Jane."
So yeah, I think it's I think it's a good story, and I also like the sometimes when they do this time pressure, the suspense that builds up. So there's a big event that's going to kick off at the end of the story if they don't sort this out. And it's the case of Androvax is escaping on the ship that the little nanobots are recreating for him. And if they don't get there and stop him, he's going to be off, and then he's going to destroy more worlds and all that jazz. So
yeah,
it's a decent write as well. The script is fairly decent. There's nothing groundbreaking here. I think the best bit of writing a game was for Sarah Jane's character when she's possessed. That's very, very cool. But yeah, otherwise, thumbs up for me as well, dude. It's it's a good watch.
Yeah, I guess I like the design of what's he called? The sort of yellowy lizardy guy. What's he called? Androvax. Androvax. Yeah, I quite like the look of him. I mean, we don't get to see much of him really because he obviously morphs into Sarah Jane, but he looks quite cool, I think, with his lizardy tongue. And he is used quite well, because I must admit, when he first takes over the little girl, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't guess that he was sort of possessed her. I don't know about you. I thought it was going to be the mum. So I thought that was quite a cool bit of writing. Like when she turned out it was her, I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So there was some good little twists and turns. There are some nice bits of humour as well, like with the Judoon driving the police car. I thought it was funny, and sometimes that can be cringy, but I think they just got the sort of level right with the humour in this, if you know what I mean. So those bits are funny, because normally I think if that bit, I don't know if I'm excusing it because it's Sarah Jane, not Doctor Who, because the bit where the police sort of run away, I think sometimes if they'd done it too much, it would have been like, oh dear. But it's funny in this. I thought moments like that really worked for me. So yeah, I really liked it. I think the Judoon are quite an interesting, I don't know, I don't want to say monster. I suppose they are, but they're a good line between being, are they good, are they bad? Because they are sort of good, but they also don't have any, the way that they deal with things sometimes is not sort of how the best way to do it. So they're a good, they're good in that sense. If you're not quite sure what they're going to do, they're a goodie, but they're also a baddie. So I quite like that as well.
Yeah, I agree. What did you think to the new opening then? So from this episode, which is what, the start of series 3, is it?
3.
Yeah.
Series 3, yeah.
Yeah, we have Clyde, who kind of breaks the fourth wall, doesn't he? He does this kind of introduction at the beginning where he's talking to the camera and he's saying, this is, my name's Clyde. And
I don't know why. It's always bugged me that he looks to camera at the end. I have no idea why. I don't know what. It's just cheesy. He does the bit because he's like, "Are you ready?" He's like, "Always." And then he just does a sly look to camera, like, "Oh no." I don't know why that bugs me, but I do like the new intro. And I will say, we get like a little recap right at the start of this, don't we? With some what I thought. So this is 10 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that CGI at the start was beautiful. The way we go through the solar system, and then the Earth molds into Sarah Jane's pupil, the eye, and I thought, wow, that's a beautiful beginning. And it looks really good for the time, like, especially, and I know we said this on a few Sarah Jane reviews, but especially considering the budget this would have got for a BBC show or whatever. So I thought that was a really nice introduction to the story, and again, it just shows that they were putting a lot of love into this. It wasn't kind of like, we need a few planets rolling around on screen. If you could just knock that up on the old computer there. It looks like somebody spent a lot of time doing that little sort of segment to put in the beginning. I thought it looked really nice and worked so well.
No, it did. Yeah. I remember watching it thinking, wow, this has held up really, because I haven't, this series 3 wasn't released on Blu-ray, was it? Because I've got them on just DVD.
No, I don't think it wasn't, no.
No, so even on just DVD, it looks really good, actually. That's really
and
nice.
it did make me wonder why they'd done the reintroduction. Was there a gap between series 2 and 3 or something? Because it does feel almost like they're just in case you haven't watched the previous 2, here's a little recap. I was wondering why we were getting that, but I mean, it still works. It didn't bother me, but it almost felt like, a bit like, when Doctor Who comes back, it's as if like, we've been away for a year, so we'll just give you a little, bring you up to date sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because they do this now for each episode, don't they, going forward? This is the first one they do it on. So I think it's more for the younger viewers, just to give them a little recap, or for younger viewers who are coming into it fresh, who have maybe not seen Sarah Jane before. It's just a nice little minute of Clyde giving you the lowdown on what the show is about and who's in it and that stuff. So I think it's more for the younger viewers, really. Yeah,
probably, yeah. And I did notice something in the intro, did you? I noticed our little friend was in a few clips. K9. Now he wasn't in this. Yeah. He wasn't in this story, but I spotted him in that little teaser bit at the start. So I'm thinking, maybe he's going to come back into it this series, because so far he was in one episode, wasn't he, where he got locked in the cupboard?
The very first episode, I believe.
The very first episode, yeah. And then we haven't seen him since, I don't think, in Sarah Jane, have we?
No. Yeah.
So maybe that cupboard door's about to spring open. I don't know, but I saw him. I was like, hang on, I saw you. That little sneaky clip there. Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't he have to go into this galaxy that was being contained in the cupboard so he could stop
with a black hole or something?
Yeah, something like that. So maybe that's rectified and we'll see him again.
Because he's got, I must admit, it's in a way, it's been great, actually, because I think if we'd have had him earlier on, because the progression of this cast, and I was thinking this while watching it, they've really, really had a lovely progression. This cast. I mean, I know Ryan is fairly new to the team, but things have really taken a natural evolve. And I think if you'd had K9 in there from the start, although they probably wanted him there, I think it's better like this, because it's given them a chance. It would have been, if he'd always been there, it wouldn't be so exciting. So now I'm really looking forward to him suddenly popping up. It's like, oh, K9's joined the team now. It just feels like they're sort of gradually building up to things. There's a really nice progression over this series with the crew, if you like, with the Sarah Jane team.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there is a good because we saw a very similar thing in the other series earlier on, where unlike Torchwood, where some of our complaints about Torchwood is the cast don't seem to gel that well in some
Not
episodes.
so far.
Yeah,
No.
it seems to be a bit hit and miss with that stuff. But with Sarah Jane, right from the off, you have this really good chemistry and this really good relationship between the characters, and that progresses really nicely as you go through the series. And then when Rani joined, it doesn't feel like it feels like she's been in the show a lot longer than what she has been.
Yeah,
I think is the best way to say it. And yeah, the chemistry is very, very good.
And her mum and dad have, because I know we found the mum a little bit OTT, didn't we?
Geeta,
in the previous episodes. They're starting to grow on me, actually. She's still a little bit hyper, but I'm really starting to like her, the mum and dad, Rani's mum and dad. I mean, they get their own little sort of mini adventure in this as well. And I think it works pretty good in a sense, because they're quite fun together, those two. So yeah, even they're growing on me. They were a bit sort of OTT to begin with, but I think they're settling in as well.
Yeah, and they've got a good kind of comedy act between the two of them as well.
Yes.
She's very, what's the word? She's just spare of the moment, spontaneous, and she wants to do whatever. And the husband, Haresh, he's very conservative and very, by the book. And essentially, they're breaking into that company, aren't they? The nanotech company. And she just doesn't care. She's like, no, we'll deal with it afterwards. Let's just get all the plants in, and then we'll get them to see with their own eyes how wonderful it looks, and then the orders will come flooding in. And he's just like, we shouldn't be doing this with this breaking. I mean, but the wife has the way in this relationship, because she just shouts him down. She's like, look, just get on with it, just do as you're told. And he sort of rolls his eyes, and so they're a good sort of duo, aren't they? A comedy act between them. We haven't seen that before. Really.
No, I was going to say, I think in the other ones, I don't know. I think this has been in the previous series. It might have been. I think they've settled more into their roles, because they were quite fun in this. But I found them a little bit over the top previously, and I think if they'd have done this double act in the previous series, it might have been a bit annoying. I might have been sort of rolling my eyes a bit like, oh, what are they doing? But in this one, I did find it quite good fun when they were, breaking into that thing, trying to put plants everywhere. And it was, I mean, it's a ludicrous story if you think about it, but it does work because of their performance. It is fun. So, I did enjoy that.
Indeed, yeah. And they play the shock, if you like, of seeing aliens for the first time. Really, like they literally, the acting's pretty good actually. They just knocks them for six. They're kind of frozen to the spot almost, and then but it doesn't really stop their sense of survival, if you like. So when the Judoon are in that building and they're having to play hide and seek and whatnot, they're still up for it. They're still, they don't.
Haresh stands up to one, doesn't he?
He does,
and she's sort of like, oh, steady, like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
which is a good,
So what did you think to when we see Tybo for the first time? He's been he's had a slap, hasn't he? He's a bit he's out of it for a bit, and then it's kind of comical in a way, but in another way it's quite good, because the way that the Tybo's been written into that part of the story, he has no choice but to trust them for a while, does he? Because
that's right.
He's disorientated. He doesn't know what's going on. They've seen the direction of where he's gone, so he has to trust them a bit. And then it's just a series of quite funny scenes. And I think that's sometimes the brilliance of Sarah Jane, where it has these moments of being quite serious about things and borderline dark moments in some episodes. But then it seamlessly transitions between these comical, funny scenes in between. And the funniest one was where the police car turns up and the two police officers get out and they see him. And before you know it, I don't know how they did it, but even in like the full Judoon costume, he's in the police car.
In the car, yeah.
And they're driving off, and it's just brilliant. And there's a bit where another car pulls up beside them and they see that it's, a massive rhino, and they speed off, but he sticks to the speed limit, doesn't he? because
that's right. And also the music as well. He tells the guy to turn the music down, doesn't he? Yeah. And then there's because there's three sort of really silly scenes, but as I said, they just get the line right with being funny and not too silly, if you know what I mean. Because as I said, for some writers, if they didn't get it, that's the good thing about Phil Ford. I think he gets the level that he needs to be at. Some writers might have gone in and thought, oh yeah, I'm on a kid's show, so yeah, he tells the guy to turn the music down and it's all really hilarious and this happens, but it actually is funny. And there's the bit where he tells Clyde off for not getting a parking ticket, for not getting the parking ticket, isn't it, and stuff like that. And it all works just really, really well. I did find it, I was rolling on the floor laughing, but I found it funny. I thought this is really good fun without being silly. Didn't go into the silly category, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's all really good. That's why I think that Judoon works so well in Sarah Jane. They perfectly fit that, can switch from comedy like that to serious, quite scary chasing, Geeta and Haresh down the hall. So they're brilliant in that sense. Yeah.
And the kind of serious, because this episode or these episodes, do have their own amount of sort of scariness, I suppose, and more darker themes. Where Mark Goldthorpe, who played Androvax, his first scene when you see them in the school hall, I think it is, or the village hall, whatever.
Yeah,
it's he plays that quite sinister, like when he just tells them to stop, and he's got this. He doesn't have a typical sort of bad guy alien voice. It's all low and rumbly and stuff. He's got a real softly spoken, almost kind voice, if you like. And that's even more unsettling. So that makes it quite dark. And the fact that he can then possess people is really scary in a way.
Yeah.
Because the little girl, when she's possessed, you don't really think, I mean, it's not visually or audibly scary. It's just a bit unsettling because you know that something isn't right. And then when he pops out of her, it's all good. But when Sarah Jane's possessed, because of her performance and her voice that she uses and that stuff, that's really unsettling to me. That's really scary. So the story does have its element of being quite scary, especially if you were a kid. Like if you were, 7 years old, for example, or 8 years old, that would be quite scary to me.
Yeah. Seeing Sarah Jane acting like that, I think would be quite creepy. Yeah. Well, it is quite creepy anyway, but yeah, it would. Yeah.
But it also combines, and this is the cool thing that Sarah Jane also does very well, is that in contrast to some Doctor Who stories where you have multiple things going on at the same time, that can potentially be quite confusing. So there have been a few episodes or stories that we've reviewed previously where we've said it's good and everything, but I just have no clue what's going on.
Yeah,
I didn't get where, whereas Sarah Jane does these multiple threads within the story really well. So we have the nanotechnology company as well. They've got their own thread running through there because Sarah Jane just goes there to interview the guy at the beginning and she gets turfed out.
Yeah, that's good too.
So that you've got that whole thing as well, haven't you? So that whole nanotechnology thing, and they're in, researching all that, and that's the thing that ultimately is going to aid Androvax in escaping, so he can build the ship. And then you've got the attic team themselves. They split up into two teams. You've got those guys. You got Sarah Jane who goes off because she's possessed, so she has to. Then you've got the other ones who are doing it. Then you've got the Judoon as well. So you've got these multiple threads that are sort of all running parallel to each other, and they all sort of culminate at the end. But I don't know about you, but I just didn't feel like I was confused. Like I didn't feel what's going on.
Not at all.
Yeah. And that's what Sarah Jane does so well. You have all these different elements. I mean, not all the time. Some episodes are fairly simplistic. It's just you have the attic team. Here's the baddie. They have to go and stop it. That's fairly simple. But when you have these more complicated ones, I think even kids would be fairly cool with what's going on. They wouldn't sit there and think, I'm going to turn this over because Sarah Jane's too adult or too confusing. So
and it's also not too kiddie, is it? I think that's the thing. They get a very good balance in Sarah Jane. I think this is why I find it so entertaining to watch, because I can follow it easily, but there's enough going on to keep me engaged. I never sort of feel like I never sort of really sort of dwindle off, and they're very easy to follow, but they've also got so much fun in every episode we watch so far. There's always enough to keep me really engaged in the story as well. So no, I didn't. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. They are fluent stories that we've had so far, without being too kiddie or too complicated.
Yeah, they absolutely, mate. Yeah,
again, just getting that balance just right. Yeah. It's not easy to do. It sounds easy. It's not always that easy to do.
No, not at all. No, and that's what I would say to. I've seen a few people on Twitter since we've started doing Sarah Jane over however many months now, who have said, "I've never watched Sarah Jane," or I've never wanted to watch it. I'm aware of it, but it's nothing that I've wanted to. I think I can speak for both of us. Absolutely go and check it out and pick up the DVDs or whatever. It's a shame that it's not on BBC iPlayer, because it was on there for months. Yeah. And coincidentally, unfortunately, they stopped doing it 2 weeks in when we started doing Sarah Jane.
Right, I know. Yeah.
But we'll keep an eye out. If they put them back on there, we'll let you know. But the DVDs, normally, you can pick them up fairly cheap if you have a look around eBay or Amazon even, because I think I picked the box set up for about £25.
Yeah.
And that was the whole thing. But I think it was like 45 quid when it first came out, the whole thing. But if you're unsure about Sarah Jane, or if it's definitely worth watching, because although it was marketed at a younger audience, like the teens and slightly younger audience and so on, it doesn't stop from feeling adult in some places. Every story, every episode that we've reviewed, it does have an adult element to it, and there's some darkness going on. And it does have its cheesy bits, and you can see that, that there's a particular scene that's absolutely for the kids and so on. But they're all...
Especially in the earlier series, yeah.
Definitely. But they're all great, great stories. I know I'm gushing a little bit here, but
I was going to say, we're on series 3, and we haven't had any story yet that we've not enjoyed. We've not had any story yet where we've even said it was below par, or that wasn't so good this week. I think every story, haven't we? I mean, I think I'm right in saying that. I think so. Yeah. I don't think we've had any story yet where one of us or both of us have said, yeah, it was okay this week, but I didn't really enjoy it. It didn't hit the spot, or there's been something in every single episode so far that we found enjoyable. Obviously, we've enjoyed some more than others, but it's been a very consistent series so far. And I'm hoping not tempting fate by saying that, because how many series did they do? It was just, they only got, so we got series 4, and then I think series 5 is only half a series, I believe.
I think
so. We've still got a couple of series to go.
Yeah, I mean, we started
right saying that.
I think so. Yeah, so we started back in April of last year.
Yeah,
with Invasion.
But it is
of
interesting you're saying about people not watching it, because I had all the DVDs upstairs for over a year, just that, because I bought them because they were to do with Doctor Who. I remember thinking, oh yeah, I'll get them, because like you buy everything connected to the show, and apart from Class. So I bought them, and they just sat on my shelf for a year. I kept thinking, oh yeah, I'll watch Sarah Jane at some point. And it was only because we started reviewing them, and I'm thinking, God, all this time, this amazing series has been just sat on my shelf, unloved, unwatched. Like, why didn't I watch it? And I think maybe a few people are like that. They're like, yeah, I've heard of Sarah Jane. I kind of can guess what it's about, so I'll get around to watching it at some point. But it's only now that we've started really watching them that I've realised what a great show it is. And I think, gosh, why didn't I watch this sooner? Like,
exactly,
just sat there gathering dust,
It's a shame, really.
Yeah, well, we're doing it now, and it's quite cool, because I like the fact we're on the journey together, because neither of us, especially from this point onwards, me and you haven't seen any of the episodes coming up, so it's quite good. They're totally fresh to me and you, so we're kind of discovering it together, which is cool.
Yeah, that is one of the best things about this, really.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like there's no new Doctor Who on at the moment, but we have got all these Sarah Jane adventures that we've never seen before. So that's all good. I think the lowest score that we've given Sarah Jane is a 6.5.
All right, which one was that?
Over the years, I think that was Warriors of Kudlak.
Oh yeah, and I really enjoyed that one. I think you weren't as struck, but I loved that's the one with the guy in the big coat, isn't it?
That's the one. Yeah.
I really liked him.
Yeah, you gave it a 7. I gave it a 6.5. Yeah.
Yeah, so still quite respectable.
Yeah, and we've given it a few 9s and stuff, so it's great. Yeah.
I will say this, and I hope I can phrase it properly without coming across wrong, but like you said, it's because we've got no Doctor Who at the minute. it is nice to have this series because, to me, I'm trying to think of a way to phrase this that doesn't sound like I'm slagging off the new series, but what I'm trying to say is, to me, Sarah Jane feels a bit like the glory days of the David Tennant era. Before people start having a go at me, what I mean by that is it just has that feel of it's fun, the stories are good, like you just said, they're easy to follow, there's nothing too complicated. It just has a vibe about it. For want of a better phrase, it has a bit of an RTD vibe to it, and it just reminds me of how when I used to look forward to, like Doctor Who when David Tennant was the Doctor. It's got that same sort of feel to it. So for me, it is a really nice thing to be watching whilst we're waiting for new Doctor Who. And that's not saying David Tennant's like, oh, I'm not sort of trying to big up his Doctor, because he's not even my favourite Doctor. It's like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's got that nice vibe to it, that it's a good fun watch. So yeah, so it is a good thing to fill that void, I think.
Yeah, and we've said it a couple of times that we're pretty sure that a lot of the production crew that worked on Doctor Who also worked on this, because if you like that era of Who from Eccleston through to the end of series 4, it's got that exact same feel when you're watching it. Like, it
does have the same tone, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I think all the cameras were the same. And I think all the production crew were the same, because I don't know, it just feels like an episode of Doctor Who, but just the Doctor swapped out with Sarah Jane.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
And the guys that do the music it's not Murray Gold big epic theme standard, but I think the guys that did the music, Sam Watts and Dan Watts, they do a really good job of filling in the gap, so to speak, and it does feel like just like Who. Yeah, it just feels like. Anyways.
It really does. It's a really nice, I wouldn't say supplement, but you know what I mean? It's a really nice thing to be watching while we're waiting for new Doctor Who. It fills that gap perfectly for me anyway. I love it. Yeah.
So in Sarah Jane's absence as the hero in this story, Luke actually steps up quite a lot, which is good.
I don't know if I should read out what I've written, but I am going to. You can always edit it out. But I wrote in this, Luke finally grows a pair, because he he finally feels like he's stepped up a bit.
He does,
he does, because we've said like we like Luke, but up until now he has been a bit wet behind the ears, isn't he? He's not really. The other guys have been much stronger in their performance, and they've stood out more. To me, he's finally starting to sort of come out of the shadows a bit, and I thought he was much better in this story, and I'm thinking, right, if he builds on this, feels like his character's finally, sort of progressing a little bit. So, yeah, that was good to see, I thought, at last, because I think I was just worried he was getting a bit lost, because I like Luke, but he just seemed to always be in the background a bit, and a bit wet. And, But anyway, he was good in this one.
He was really good. And I think
standing up.
I think it's a combination of him just his character naturally progressing to be more that way inclined, but also he's obviously extremely worried about his mum. So those two things, I think, really propel him further into that more lead role, because at the end of the day, he is like the main character's son. So you would assume that he would inherit some of those traits and all that stuff. So it's good to see him, instead of being a bit of a wet blanket and a bit of a complainer all the time, to just take in charge, because he does save the day on more than one occasion. There's the bit where Sarah Jane, the possessed Sarah Jane, goes back to the attic and she tells Mr. Smith to self-destruct, and
that's a great cliffhanger.
Oh, the cliffhangers in Sarah Jane, they're wicked,
really good.
And it's Luke that actually sort of talks him down. He sort of talks reason into him to stop the detonation and so on. So, and then the bit at the end as well, where he realizes, at the end inside the ship, where what does he do? Something on a control panel.
Yeah,
I think he reverses or stops something with the nanobots. So he actually steps up and saves the day a couple of times, and then you've got the other characters who are almost there to back him up, if you like. So I know Clyde's very much, he's the usual quick-witted, funny one-liner, but he's there. He's got Luke's back definitely, and Rani's the same. And it's just nice to see a bit of a shift, because sometimes Clyde takes the lead,
Yeah.
Clyde's the one that's, the funny talking, adventurous one of the pack, if you like, and he's always up for it. So it's nice to see a bit of a shift where Luke's got more of that going on.
And Tommy Knight just seemed a bit more confident in his performance in this. To me, it just seemed like, I don't know, he felt like he just sort of was going for it a bit more. I thought, Luke's, I just agreed. He definitely seemed better in this one. Yeah, good to see him taking more of a sort of stronger stance on things rather than, I don't know. Because I like you said, the bit where he defeats the computer to the cliffhanger is brilliant. The way he deals with it, scenes like that. So yeah, I'm hoping that continues from now on. I hope he just gets better and better.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas Clyde, actually, mate, I do love Clyde, and we've said he's been great actually ever since episode 1. He's a really cool character, and Daniel Anthony plays him really, really well. The only thing I would say, and this one's slightly the opposite to Luke, nothing to do with his performance, but some of his jokes felt a little bit forced this time, and I'm going to put that down to Phil Ford. They always were a bit too cringy, because the good thing with Clyde is he's that sort of cheeky chappy that throws out the one-liners. I don't know, to me, in this two-parter, for whatever reason, some of the dialogue he was given just felt a bit clunky.
Okay.
Right. Didn't quite feel the natural sort of funny Clyde that we've had, and so a bit opposite to Luke, whereas I thought Luke was much better in this story. I thought Clyde's sort of one-liners were a bit too cringe in this. That's probably the only negative I've actually written down as well. Just thought his jokes felt a bit forced, like the bit where he says about he's going to phone home his friends, and just Sarah Jane rolls her eyes. I was just like, I don't know, it's not really. Clyde's jokes are normally corny, but they're not normally that sort of cheesy. I don't know, just felt a little bit forced. But
I know exactly. It did feel a little bit. It's got the normal pop culture little references that Clyde normally. He mentioned Star Wars again, and and E.T.
I don't know.
Stuff,
whereas before the jokes have seemed quite natural. It almost seems a little bit caricature now. Like, Clyde comes in and cracks a terrible joke at this point. It's like, he doesn't always need to do that. So hopefully they don't go down that route of making Clyde a bit of a caricature of what is a very good character.
Yeah, no, agreed, mate, totally. For the most part, he was good. It was just those little scenes where he comes in and pops the one-liner. You thought, it's all. We don't want it to become a case of he has to say one-liners all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It should be a natural thing. Yeah, I read you. Yeah. And then Rani, she doesn't really have a great deal to do in terms of, she doesn't physically do anything, but she does. She does also worry because her parents are involved, in the same way that Luke's worried about Sarah Jane. She's aware, isn't she, that her parents are, because they don't know that Rani's involved in this at all. That's the clever bit.
Yeah.
They assume, because at the end of it, they want to rush home so they can tell her all about it. Unbeknownst to them, that she's actually influenced saving the whole thing, saving the planet. So that's clever.
And I wonder, where are they going to go with that? So now that Geeta and Haresh have seen aliens, because I was expecting are they going to get their minds wiped again or something, but they don't, do they? So are they now? Yeah, how's that going to go on from with the rest of the series? Like, are they going to know all about aliens existing now? Is that going to be? Are they going to become part of the team? I am slightly intrigued where we're going with that, because obviously it's the first story in episode 3. So to introduce them to aliens right at the start of the series makes me think they're going to be more involved in the series. And I'm kind of up for that, as long as it's not too much.
I think it feels like they're going to just be aware of it. But then again, we've had that in Who a couple of times, haven't we? Remember when the 10th Doctor first bumps into Wilf, and Wilf says, it was those aliens on Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I think people have been exposed to aliens and they've kind of dealt with it, and so maybe they'll just underplay that a little bit, and they'll like the typical or the stereotypical British nature of just cracking on with it and not being bothered by things. Maybe, I'm not sure, but
yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I'd be interested to see where we go from that. Yeah.
What did you think to the Judoon's effectiveness at taking down Androvax the Annihilator? Because one thing that I was a little bit, and this might just be how the Judoon have been shown in general from Doctor Who as well over the years. But sometimes I do get the feeling that they do go down the Cyberman route just a little bit.
What, and that they're a bad shot?
Well, yeah, also, and that they, like in the classic years, the Cybermen were always really threatening. You know, they were always, if the Cybermen got hold of you, that was it, sort of thing. And very rarely did people escape or whatever, unless you were the Doctor, of course. But I feel like the Judoon, they come across like this badass, really, no nonsense, up for it. Not too far like the Centaurans, who are just sort of thirsty for death and war and stuff. But they come across like they're supposed to be more like that in a little way. But they always end up just being like these. I don't want to unnecessarily dilute them and say they're like these bumbling rhinos.
No, I know what you're trying to say.
But
yeah, I get you.
In a little way, they kind of end up, because Tybo gets tricked very easily into that room, doesn't he? Rani and Clyde trap him in there, and then they're off, and then it's up to his mates to turn up, and you can see that, behind the language, they're probably thinking, how the bloody hell have you ended up in there? You're supposed to be a Judoon, for God's sake, This is what you do. But and then really it's not down to them, it wasn't down to their actions that saved the day. It was more down to Luke and Clyde and Rani, wasn't it? So I can see the appeal. The Judoon, they look very cool, they're kid friendly and everything, but there's a little part of me that thinks, you guys should be a little bit more ruthless at times. Don't be. So what do you think on that?
No, I do absolutely see what you mean, and I think that works in this show. To be honest, I think it works okay in Sarah Jane. I think I can forgive it a little bit more. I wouldn't like to see that happen in Series 12, and I can so easily see that happening as well. Mm-hmm. So I think I can forgive it in Sarah Jane because of the sort of tone of the show. And that's not saying, because it's a kid show. It's nothing to do with that. Just the tone of the show is slightly different, and it should be different as well. It's aimed at a different audience. Well, same audience, but but I think if it was to be in Doctor Who, the main show, I think it would be a shame if they were that bumbling and easily defeated, because that is something that gets annoying. Like you said, if the Cybermen lose their threat, which I think you agree with me on that. I think they've lost a lot of threat in the new series of Cybermen. I don't really like the new series Cybermen at all. I don't find them frightening. I don't like the design, blah, blah, blah. I think the Daleks were incredibly threatening when they came back in the new series to begin with, and then they lost their threat a lot over the course of the show. So, I wouldn't want to see the Judoon go down that route in Series 12. But I think it works all right in this. I honestly do. I think can totally see the point you're making, but I think it suits the show they're in.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, so for Sarah Jane, I see what you mean.
I can forgive it. I'm a bit more forgiving with it. Yeah.
I guess
whereas if it was in Doctor Who, I'd probably be rolling my eyes, going, "Oh God, come on,"
Yeah, true. And I guess it's like the Slovene as well.
Yeah, same. Exactly.
In Sarah Jane, they're a little bit more reserved, I suppose.
You take it a bit more of a pinch of salt, I think, with Sarah Jane. Yeah.
Talking of Sarah Jane, let's talk about Liz Sladen's performance then, because she kind of stole the show a little bit, as she frequently does with her.
Yes.
Just amazing. Because she's really good anyway. We will say this forevermore, but one of the best things about Liz Sladen is consistency.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like you're never going to score Liz Sladen below a certain number, regardless of what the story's like. If it's a poor script, if it's a poor story, she's always just a certain level. I think is the best way to describe her. She's always on game. She's just amazing. Like her character, like she just lives that character. It doesn't matter whether she's in Doctor Who or Sarah Jane. She's always that same. She's just like when she very first read that script years ago, the classic series. She probably thought, this sounds like a good character. I can play this Sarah Jane. I could play her. And ever since then, she's just known instinctively what Sarah Jane would say to something and how she would say it and how she would react and her movements and everything. So that's one of the great things about this show, a continuation from Doctor Who, is just her performances are brilliant. So in the first sort of third of the whole story, that's what you get. You just get consistent, brilliant. But then when she's possessed, we have this a really good flip of the coin where all of a sudden she's out of her comfort zone in a way, because she's no longer playing the likable, heroic Sarah Jane. Even now it's a case of, right, you've got to play an alien. You're not playing Sarah Jane anymore. You need to play, this horrible, bad intended alien. So I think that she nailed this. I really do. I think that she took these directions in the script where she, you've got to play someone else completely, essentially, but in Sarah Jane's body. And she does it at the flip of a switch as well. Isn't there a bit in the story where she pretends to be Sarah Jane? She says to Luke, Luke, I'm scared, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like a flip of a switch, and she's back into it, and then another flip, and she's back to Androvax. So what do you think to her voice? I think her voice was the main factor more than anything.
Yeah. It's like I said in the trailer, it doesn't even sound. It is her, but it doesn't sound like her. It's a good transformation because I don't know, it's all in the movements as well. It's in the movements and the voice. She doesn't sort of go to OTT. She's just very, very creepy when she's possessed. I absolutely love the bit when she just waltzes into the attic when she's possessed, and she sort of picks up a few things and throws it aside, and just like so opposite to how Sarah Jane is. So it's a really nice sort of subtle performance of possession rather than I am possessed. She's just playing it just right, and it is creepy as hell. I love the way she talks to Mr. Smith as well, and I like the fact he picked up on it, because I thought Mr. Smith was just gonna, it's Sarah Jane, even though the voice is different, it'll just think, but he's like, Sarah Jane, you sound different and all this. So that was all good. I like the conflict between Mr. Smith knowing it's Sarah Jane, but it's not Sarah Jane. But yeah, just the way she tilts her head and everything about the way she acted, it was really, really good. Yeah, even when she has to do the little lizard tongue, the little CGI lizard tongue, it's just quick enough to get away with it. It doesn't, it still looks quite good. So yeah, nice. And it's nice to see her like doing something different as well, rather than being locked up or captured,
Yeah.
To be possessed, it was cool. It does remind me a tiny little bit of Sarah Jane in the Android Invasion. When she's playing the sort of the robot, the android Sarah, she's sort of very much like that sort of possessed sort of style, a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It just reminded me a bit of that at the start. So she's great. Yeah, and I love her normal voice, not possessed voice. But when she does like voiceovers at the start and finish, I don't know about you, but I'd like her to sort of read me to sleep at night. Her voice is just perfect for voiceover. Like the way she delivers that monologue at the start and finish is just, I don't know, perfection, really. It's just brilliant. Yeah. I just love that. I could literally just close my eyes and listen to her talk. It's about the universe and the stars, and I really buy into it. I really believe everything she's saying to me in those monologues. It's great.
It's a shame really that she's no longer with us, because I've been watching this series on BBC One, this Professor Brian Cox thing called The Planets, and I can imagine Liz Sladen narrating that. That's like a perfect fit. Amazing.
Yeah.
Not taking away from Brian Cox, of course, but just having her narrate that would have been, just perfect.
I just think she's got a really soothing voice. I mean, I thought this isn't the first time I thought it. Every time she does one of those little monologues, I literally could just close my eyes and listen to it, because I just think she's got a really soothing voice. Yeah. Perfect for those sort of things. Yeah.
No, you spot on with that. Yeah. It's great to see Liz Sladen doing Sarah Jane in every episode, but this is just an extra treat that we get to see her play something else, and just as good as well. So it's great. Have you got any other story points or anything else on these that you want to mention?
No, I literally was just having a look at my list. The only other thing I've got on it is a badly drawn owl, which is to remind me that I spotted her, the owl toy that she's got at the end of Hand of Fear when she leaves the TARDIS.
Oh yeah.
I spotted it in the background. I had to freeze frame it. I was like, was that I just saw the two big eyes behind her. So that may have been there all the time. Other people may have spotted that before, but I spotted that in the attic, and I thought that was a very nice little throwback that she's still got the owl toy teddy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's the only other thing I've got on my pad is that badly drawn picture of an owl.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that before. So that could be
No, I
an
don't
addition.
think it's been there before, but yeah, just noticed it in the background, yeah.
Okay. Right, let's get on to scores then.
Yeah.
You can go first, buddy.
Okay, so this is enjoyable and a good introduction to Series 3. But like you said, it doesn't break any molds or it's not groundbreaking. So it's a good story. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
7.
7.
Yep. I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Oh, a 0.5. Okay.
Yeah. Just because I feel like it's a great, it's a very good story. And although the Judoon, they kind of, I think I would have scored it a bit higher if the Judoon would have taken charge a bit more, because effectively, although Androvax is the villain of the story, he's not in it as much in his natural form, so to speak. So the predominant aliens in the story are the Judoon. So it would have been cool to have them a bit more. I don't know. But anyway, it's a really good story, and it's certainly not a bad watch by any means. So
yeah,
another recommended one, I would say.
Yeah. Another good one. Yeah.
Right, what do our listeners think? I've got these audio clips saved from a few weeks back when you first sent them in, so we'll get to those. This is the first one from Sammy from Down Under.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Satine here. Apologies, my voice is a bit croaky. I've been a bit sick. Anyway, Choro Mo So Mo Ho So, or whatever Prisoner of the Judoon is in Judoonese. I love this. It's a great story. Androvax is quite a vicious veil form. Nice to see the nanogenes again. I haven't seen them since the Empty Child, the Doctor Dances. I like Captain Tybo. It's always good to see a Judoon. Rani's parents get a bit more to do in this one. I do like Geeta and Haresh. I give it 8 nanogenes out of 10. See ya.
An 8.
Hopefully next time less croaky.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks, Sammy, so hopefully...
I hope you're better. Yeah, poor Sammy. Sounds a bit croaky there.
Yeah,
nanogenes, of course, it's Dr. Dance. That was driving me mad trying to think what the story was with nanotechnology. And it's one of my favourite stories as well. Should have got that. Thanks for filling in that gap for me, Sammy.
And also, to reference another story, I've just thought, the spaceship that Androvax gets the nanobots to build, it was based on, it was kind of a pop culture / conspiracy theory thing. They based it on the Roswell crash. The whole thing back in New Mexico.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and they used exactly the same design of spaceship in the animated thing called Dreamland. The 10th Doctor animated short with him and Martha.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same ship that they used in Sarah Jane. Yeah.
Oh right, I've got Dreamland somewhere on the shelf.
I haven't seen that in so long, but
nor have I. No,
yeah, it's the same thing.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Didn't notice that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sammy. Yeah, it's been a few weeks now, so hopefully that croaky voice has cleared up. Let's go to Matt Steele.
Hello, come in. I've locked onto the coordinates of your TARDIS. Hopefully I've got just enough time to send you another review. Hello, Gary and Adam. Matt Steele here again. Hope you guys well, had a good week. So this week, Prisoner of the Judoon. The world in Sarah Jane's eye is really good. The CGI of the robot insects in the microscope was a little too animated for me. The Androvax is a really menacing villain, and the makeup is really effective. The story has some really good humour in it as well, as always in Sarah Jane Adventures. Liz Sladen plays the evil villain extremely well, even her posture and mannerisms changed. Really good. This story shows that I think Clyde and Captain Tybo's spin-off should really have gone ahead. It's a real shame that they never did that. The Judoon seem a little less threatening in this compared to Doctor Who. I thought they were more humorous. The show as a whole looks like it's had an upgrade and more money given to it. Geeta and Haresh give really nice performances. It's a bit cheesy, but a really good story all the same. I give this 8 law-abiding Judoon out of 10. That looks like all I've got time for. I'll see you guys next week.
Cheers, Matt.
Oh, very entertaining review. Thank you very much, Matt. And 8 out of 10.
Yeah, he had a good day in London as well, didn't he? He sent me a little tweet showing all the shops he got to visit and stuff. And it sounds like he bought a Sonic.
Well, you would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice one, Matt Steele. Let's move on. Last review. This is Luke Malloy.
Hello, Gary and Adam of the Big Blue Box podcast. It's Luke Malloy here, and we have the prisoner of the Judoon on the moon platoon. Annoyingly, I haven't had a chance to watch this one this week, but from what I remember, it's a good little enjoyable episode. Sarah Jane plays the dual role really well. She plays evil really well, and when she is possessed by the veil, it really does give me the creeps. She plays that really well. The Judoon, I think they're still good, but they don't suit the Sarah Jane adventures as well as, say, the Slivine or the Sontarans. But it's still enjoyable. I've actually just listened to Judoon in Change on the Classic Doctors New Monsters box set, and that was fantastic. Judoon story, but that's going off topic. It's literally just so enjoyable just to see Rani and Clyde and Sarah Jane have fun and be on adventures. Oh, and Luke as well. God, I forgot about Luke. It's a good little season opener. I'll give this one a 7 out of 10. Thanks again.
7, same as me.
Same as you, yeah. Thank you very much, Luke. And thank you, Sammy, Matt and Luke, for sending in your audio clips. Very much appreciated. Over on Twitter, Etchy said, I've just watched this two-parter, and what I got out of it was a really fun viewing experience. Yes, it was cheesy. Yes, it was a bit by the numbers, but I love seeing the Judoon. Great episodes. I give it 8 possessed Sarah Janes out of 10. Rick Moran says, a fun opener to the third series. Love the Judoon driving the police Range Rover. Gives it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's fun.
Our writer Jordan Shortman says, not the best, but not the worst episode. The Judoon do feel like SJA villains, and the captain driving a police car is hysterical. I don't like Androvax, however. There's some nice throwbacks to Sarah Jane being possessed in her time on Who, but otherwise not a favourite. Jordan.
I quite liked Androvax. Yeah.
Jack says, it's a lovely one to start off the series. It's good to see the Judoon once more in the Whoniverse, and it introduces Androvax, one of my favourite villains, a 7.5.
That sounds like he might come back.
He does. He does come back, yes.
Okay, good.
I don't know when, but he does come back. Yeah. And lastly, Sarah Louise, the Running Hoovian, says, yet again, Liz Sladen delivers a great performance. Luke saving Mr. Smith from rogue Sarah Jane's evil command was genius. I found Clyde and Rani tedious at times, but overall it was a fun story. The Judoon enforcing UK laws and driving a police Range Rover was just hilarious. And she gives it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Cool, thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. And lastly, on Facebook, we had a few over there. Joseph Howarth said, really good episode. I thought the idea of Androvax using bodies and controlling them was a neat concept. And man, Elizabeth Sladen can really do evil very well. Good to see the Judoon back. Again, they really fit the Sarah Jane adventures very well. And good to see old Nick Briggs coming back to do them again.
Good.
8.5 from Joseph. Charlie Turner says, see if I get this right. Sko, no, ro, to, mo, show, to. That's Judoon. That's Judoon for a good story, but with nitpicks that I can't remember, an 8 out of 10. Thank you for translating, Charlie. And lastly, Kevin Mullen says, really rather enjoyable. The Judoon are perfect for the Sarah Jane adventures in the same way the Slitheen are. 7. Oh, here we go. 7, low, plo, vo, flow, o, show, flow, ro, blow, fo, po, crow, flow, out of 10. You guys, eh?
You guys.
And your jokes, yeah. So thank you very much, guys, for all your reviews. Very much appreciated, as always. Love hearing from you guys. Next week, it is classic Doctor Who. Adam, what are we doing next week?
Classic. Well, break out your season 18 box sets. Why don't you? Because if you've got them, because we'll be reviewing the 4th Doctor story, The Leisure Hive.
I see.
The Leisure Hive. Our friend Morgan's going to be delighted. Every time I see him, he's like, when are you reviewing Leisure Hive? Oh, it's not on the chart, mate. Anyway, yeah, Leisure Hive next week.
Yeah, should be good. Some Tom Baker action for next week.
Yeah, do make sure you watch the little extra of Tom throwing the prop across the studio set. He really wasn't a happy chap on that, making that story.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
Take that. Yeah, he loses it. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching that one because we shall see.
Tune in next week. It's like the old-fashioned tune in next week to find out why Adam's in. Yeah, so there we go. Leisure Hive next week should be good. And I think we'll wrap there, buddy, for 235.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening to episode 235. It's been amazing being back, recording the Doctor Who Big Blue Box podcast, listening to your guys' thoughts and comments, chatting with Adam. It's just so cool. I've missed you guys so much. I missed Adam. It's been great to be back doing this stuff, as always. Thank you for your thoughts and reviews on Prisoner of the Judoon. Very much appreciated. Next week, as Adam said, the Leisure Hive. And we're going to be reviewing some Tom Baker action next week, so get your medium of choice watched, whether that's the classic DVDs or if you've got the Blu-ray box set, get those watched, because we'll be asking for your thoughts on that. Head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of the previous episodes on there, and there's also a bunch of really cool articles from our writers who are doing all things Doctor Who related on there, so give that a read. Remember to subscribe to the show in your podcast app of choice. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box podcast. You'll find us on there. Just drop a sub so that you don't miss a show when it goes out every Friday. We're also on all of the social channels. So just do a search for the Big Blue Box podcast. The main ones, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on there chatting about Doctor Who and other things during the week. So get involved in that. Remember to check out my co-host's channel over on YouTube, The Geek's Handbag.
The Geek's Handbag.
The old Geek's Handbag.
The old Geek's Handbag on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Remember to check out his channel and give him a subscribe.
Yes.
There's loads and loads of videos on there. Some really cool stuff that will satisfy your geekiness for hours. Loads of reviews and unboxings and all sorts of stuff on there. So go and check that out over on Adam's channel. And Adam's also on the normal social channels as well, under the same name, The Geek's Handbag. So give them a like and a follow on there, because we chat Doctor Who and other stuff each and every week. So get involved with that.
Yeah.
Yes. We will see you next week for episode 236. Until then, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember,
Aldi.